So we should go inside Google Shopping and look at it. It's evolved over time. I'm not going to play through all that evolution. I don't think that's that interesting. Let's sort of talk about where it is today. So Google's got a bunch of different blogs where they describe what's going on internally. They're great. I urge you to sort of look at those. And so they've got a Google Commerce blog. And on May 31st of 2012, they sort of said, we're changing how we're approaching our shopping product. And it's completely consistent how we've talked about the overall evolution of Google. They just lay that out. They say, look, when we started Google, 10 blue links. That's what we did. Here they are, move on. Here they are, move on. That's not the world we think we live in. People want answers. And it's this switch from 10 blue links to answers, which is what, in part, everyone's wrestling with. So, we've talked about this. Search for restaurants. You want restaurants. Hotels? Okay, same thing with shopping, they say. So, here's what I think is interesting about that. What they say is that their original model, as I said, the data model of Google was crawl, index, rank. Go out and visit every website, basically. Grab the information, rank it. We've talked about the PageRank algorithm. They say to really run shopping websites intelligently, you cannot be living off of the public web. You need to enter into deals with people to let them sort of look inside the corporation. If you're going to offer stuff for sale, you might like to know what the inventory is. That's not on public websites. And so it's very much a change in moving away from the public web to an inside the corporation or inside the firm or entity information. And that has to be done sort of company by company. So what I think is interesting here is the evolution of the data models. So classic Google is this, crawl, index, rank. As I said, the Yelps of the world I think are interesting from an information standpoint because it's users to users. So I think there's a platform dynamics there, virtuous circles there. This is not really that. A website, a company that wants to sell cameras or dishwashers could enter into these kinds of deals with any number of sites. But it's going beyond the public web to gather this information. That's what's going on here. And that's partially what makes this, I think, separate from the standard Google product. That's important. If we're going to do antitrust tying, we need to have separate products. That's true in the United States. That's true in the European Union. I think it's pretty straightforward to articulate how these are separate products, and this does that. But more importantly, for today at least, though I think that's actually pretty important, Google, when they made this announcement in 2012, said basically we're switching to a pay-for-play system. Our Google Shopping product is going to be all about people paying to be listed there. And yes, we're going to take into account relevance to do the ranking, but it's going to be some combination of what price you're willing to pay and how relevant you are. It's an advertisement. Google is making money off of that, and Google discloses that, as we'll see pretty clearly. And Google's allowed to run these kinds of ads. They've always run ads. Indeed, that's the only business model seemingly we've had for this. Again, go think back to our discussion of the search engine letter in 2002. The FTC was unhappy about the integration of organic results and ads, clear and conspicuous disclosures, but advertising has been the model here all along. And that's what Google says they're going to do here as well. So let's look at that. So remember my dishwasher search. Well, if you blow that up a little bit, here's what you see. So again, you see sort of traditional ads here over the right. But this shopping product, and critically you see there is that this is described as sponsored. So there's no confusion there. There's an indication there. It's clear that this is being disclosed as something, and you can click, and I will in just a second, that Google is getting paid for. So my concerns earlier about the one box and the Google reviews had been the fact that those seemingly were not being determined organically and in a competitive fashion, but that Google was hardwiring to those. That wasn't being disclosed. This is all disclosed. So the disclosure issue strikes me as off the table. We're really sort of down to a competition policy issue, an antitrust issue. And now the question in some sense is, what are the limits on how Google takes this page and how much of it's going to be advertising based and how much of it's going to be organic? And it's not obvious that US antitrust law or that European antitrust law has a pretty good answer on that. So if you click on this, let me get rid of this. Yes, if you click on this sponsored button, what pops up is this. There's no question that Google's trying to disclose that. And if the European Union said this box needed to be rewritten, Google would rewrite it in a heartbeat. So disclosure is clearly not the issue. The question is, what is the problem given this? And especially, what is the problem given the larger context in which shopping and e-commerce takes place? All right, in our next segment, with this understanding of Google Shopping in hand, we're going to look at the European Union statement of objections, or at least the press release about it. And then in the following segment, we're going to look at Google's response. I'm Randy Picker at the University of Chicago. This is Internet Giants, the law and economics of media platforms.